Hi everyone, it's Dimdi here. Since many of you have asked me how I ended up living away from home and why my accent sounds a bit mixed, I thought I'd finally share the story. It all started when I lived in India actually. I stayed there twice, though its time wasn't very long. I studied alongside Indian students, and what I was exposed to there was the Indian English accent. But at that time I was so young, I couldn't even tell the difference between different accents. Still, those experiences really opened my eyes to how other people live and opened my ears to English because it was my very first real exposure to the language. However, I actually spent more time dealing in American English because I've lived most of my life in Korea where American English is the standard. So quite naturally, the American accent became the variety that I felt most comfortable with. And that's probably why my English still carries a slight trace of the American accent. A few years later, I also lived in the Philippines. I studied English intensively there. I took so many lessons because I genuinely wanted to improve. But looking back, I sometimes regret not studying even harder. And I wonder if I had studied harder, my English would be better now. After that, I went to New Zealand to study hospitality. Because I had to support myself financially, I worked a lot. Honestly, probably way too much. Most of my days were split between school and part-time jobs, so I didn't really get to enjoy student life or practice English in natural and everyday situations. The language I used back then was mostly customer-based. You know, polite phrases, standard greetings, the kind of lines you repeat 100 times a day at work. Everything I said felt quite formulaic, full of set expressions and fixed patterns, nothing very colloquial. But I think it was in New Zealand where my English started to develop the special character it has today. I learned so much just by listening to Kiwis, copying how they spoke, and trying to sound like them. And I suppose that's when my current accent really began to take shape. After spending a few years in New Zealand, I moved to China and studied business in Beijing. I made a bunch of new friends at college from Russia, Mongolia, India, South Africa, Malaysia, and Thailand. We worked together almost every day, doing group work, hanging out after class, basically spending all our time together. They all spoke with different accents, and since we spent literally every day together, I naturally picked things up from them. I'd say my Kiwi accent had started to fade a bit after New Zealand, so I tried to develop a new accent just by listening and copying how my friends spoke. After 2 years in China, for my third year, I joined an exchange program in London. My best friend back then was from Hong Kong, and she spoke with this really clear British accent, which definitely rubbed off on me. After 6 months in London, I was supposed to go back to China, but COVID hit, so I had to go back to Korea instead and finished my study via Zoom. During that time, I didn't have many chances to speak English outside of my study, and I slowly lost confidence. Before I officially graduated from my business study in China, I got a job at an international company in Korea. My supervisor had lived in London for a long time, and his British accent was so strong, and I actually thought it sounded really cool. And I wanted to sound like that, so I secretly tried to imitate the way he spoke. Later, I moved to another company, and I really clicked with one girl there. And since we spent a lot of time together, my accent started to mirror hers. She spoke with this really nice American accent, and suddenly that started to sound cool to me too. So there I was, switching back and forth between accents, trying to sound like different people. I still had a bit of a Kiwi accent, left from my time in New Zealand. But whenever I spoke with someone who had different accents, I'd subconsciously start following their rhythm. And at some point, I just started feeling embarrassed because I didn't have an accent of my own. Then in 2023, I decided to go back to the UK to study again, having this quiet hope that maybe this time I could finally build my own accent, something that actually felt like me. And the first friend I made there was from Singapore, and she helped me a lot with my English. She had this really lovely mix of American and Singaporean accent. I'm not gonna lie, when she tried to joke around with the Singaporean accent, I couldn't help copying her. Before I knew it, I was saying la all the time, like literally everywhere la. In the end, I just stopped trying to control it, because my accent kept shifting a little depending on who I was around. And I started to realize maybe that's just how it's meant to be. To be honest, for a long time, I was really insecure about my accent. Even after living abroad for years, I felt like my English was never good enough. Like people might judge me for not having a perfect accent. Some people told me my accent sounded unique or mixed in a good way, but I couldn't take it as a compliment. To me, it just felt uncertain, like my accent didn't have any real originality. Just another layer adding to my own ambiguity. So I hesitated to speak English in front of others, thinking people might notice every little inconsistency in how I sound. But now I've learned to stop overthinking it. My accent, just like me, is still evolving, still finding its place. It's not perfect, but it's real, and it's mine. So yeah, that's my story. What's your English journey been like?